everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. In today's video it's time for us to park the potential excitement, dread, worry, fear, joy of what European Cup competition we'll be playing in to this season and get to what really matters most, people, the old spfl. And we all know the script by now, we know the way that it goes, so let's just dive right into it. As always, if you do find yourselves enjoying the content, please consider hitting that like button or hitting that subscribe button. Or if you'd rather wait to see if this video is worth hitting that for, let's go ahead to try to earn it then, shall we? We'll start off by looking at tomorrow's opposition, who coming into the game of football has the exact same record as we do in Scottish football. No many times you get to say that, and I absolutely hate that I need to say that, people, but we know the way the season started for us. We sit 6th, they sit 7th. Let's move on for the league table. It's only been 2 games, but I'll be honest with you, this is one of the most interesting Ross County sides I've actually had to look at, because we've done this channel for many years. I've looked at a lot of different incarnations of this Ross County side for this channel, for you guys over the year, but this one is just a little bit different, and I think the longer you watch the video, the more you'll actually see that, because it's not the same tried and tested Ross County side we've faced many times in the past. No, there is some very interesting tweaks and changes to their overall play, as I think what happened to them last season, being this close to being kicked to the championship, that jump scare they got for Partick Thistle has got things changing in a different direction, because normally they were a part of the bus side that relied on set pieces. Might be a bit blunt, but let's call it as we see it. But last season they finished with a minus 23 goal difference, people. 23 goal difference, and now they were nearly in the championship, so they've tweaked it a little bit and they're a lot more attacking and they think a lot more with the ball going forward, especially on the deck, which was a real surprise for me to sit and really dive into ahead of tomorrow's game. And that the best defence is a good offence type mindset led them to Parkhead on opening day. Again, sorry for mentioning it, but for Ross County it was important because they went away to Parkhead, and it's got to be said, until Celtic got their penalty in the 17th minute, you ask anyone who saw anything of that game, the one team that was on the ascendancy and passing the ball and having free corners in the opening 15 minutes wasn't Celtic at home, flag day, blah blah blah. It was Ross County who was getting the ball, playing with real width in their squad and using their pace to get in behind Celtic's attacking fullbacks. And they arguably should have had a penalty kick after Joe Hart doing his usual Joe Hart stuff, but they didn't get it and then ended up shooting themselves in the foot about a minute or 2 later, as they just gave away a clumsy, needless penalty when Celtic were really on the ropes in the opening 15 minutes. But football can be cruel, people, but especially cruel if you do silly things like that, and Celtic are a very good side. They didn't need to give them an advantage in a game, and Celtic ended up pulling away and taking a 3-0 lead in the game, and everyone said, well, that's it, it's going to be a cricket score. But again, Ross County stood to task and kept battling and ended up scoring 2 goals at Parkhead in the second half. And if you actually watch the flow of the game, they could and should have scored a couple more. So it's not exactly the same bread and butter we've came to expect for Ross County, as they left Parkhead with even 8 corners. People, 8 corners. They used to barely get 8 touches, but their attacking mindset is opening some doors, because it goes into this game versus us tomorrow. Every game, Scottish League Cup, and obviously in the SPFL through the 2 games, they have scored goals in every single game that they've played, and that's because of the tactical tweak to get the ball on the ground and create havoc. So I used the Parkhead one as I think it gives you a better example, especially a lot more details, because we know how good the Celtic squad is and the quality they have. Ross County was up there punching and battling for periods in that game, and that's just not been the way it's been for Ross County for a very long time. But let's look at their second game then, shall we, because they obviously won that one, and they continued the exact same way at home versus St Johnstone, as they absolutely battered St Johnstone. They had 18 shots in the game. This is Ross County we're talking about. They had 18 shots versus St Johnstone's. They came away with a comfortable 2-0 win, where again it should have been 5 or 6. But it's got to be said, people, with every positive that we're talking about and everything they're good going forward, there is always equally a negative, and it's actually something we talked about in our league prediction video right at the start of this season. Where I was worried about Ross County was their defensively, because they lost a couple of their key centre backs over the last couple of years, and if you look at that as positive they have been going forward, they have only kept 1 clean sheet, including the Scottish League Cup early round games as well, and that was obviously in their most recent game versus St Johnstone in terms terms of league football. But if you look at the cup football, they've conceded to Greenock Morton, Dinny people, they've conceded to Stranraer, and they conceded 3 to Airdrie just in the last game. So they are very, very susceptible to the other way, which is great, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully they're very susceptible tomorrow. Now, they have played a variant of a 4-4-2 for the majority of the games this season, but if you look at how they lined up at Parkhead with a kind of 3-5-2 style formation, or a 5-3-2, whatever you actually want to call it, that's what I'm expecting tomorrow, despite them being at home. Obviously, as we come to the park, they'll be fine with very little of the ball. They will play out wide, they will try and attack us with their pace, and that will be what we face tomorrow. And of course, the dreaded name of Jordan White, who always seems to score versus us. And with our set piece defending not improving this season, I'm sure he'll be one that's licking his lips at every single corner that they get against us. But that's the tail of the tape for Ross County. I didn't just want to skim through them and give them absolute zero respect, because they've actually deserved a bit of respect for moving maybe away from the hammer thrower attitude and actually trying to play football. Again, I imagine just because of necessary, they will falter back to maybe parking the bus and hitting the long balls to the channels. But they have played good football so far this season, especially at Parkhead. So I wouldn't be surprised if a couple times we're like, who is this squad that we play the more? And that's it. That's the tail of the tape for Ross County. Again, I'm not saying they're a brilliant side or a massive test for Rangers or anything like that, but they are an interesting challenge, and that is what Scottish football is all about. If you want to be lifting the trophies at the end of the season, it's no sexy, it's no clickbait, it's no massive lights in your face. It's winning games like this up at Ross County. And that gives us the perfect transition over to the Rangers side of today's video, and I'll be honest that I'm feeling a bit positive right now, and I know that's against some very loud people on social media who's been pouring a lot of negativity for the PSV game, but I saw positivity in that. Yes, we didn't win it or anything like that, but we never won it last year and we still progressed. But what I saw was us using the time on the ball effectively, no wasting possession. Yes, we didn't have a lot of the possession and any of that stuff, but that's irrelevant to me. I'll take 30% of the ball if we're actually putting the ball in the back and 8 at a more regular occurrence. But what I took from a Rangers fan is if you looked at our time on the ball, we didn't waste it. We weren't slow, we weren't passive, we were sharp, we were forward thinking, and I think we can take parts like that in games like that and start to translate it as we start building chemistry and building relationships, and then start really putting teams away when we have got a lot of the ball, because it all translates over. So for me, I can see real positives in the way we played versus a team that hadn't lost since the 16th of February. But again, maybe I'm just a half full type of guy where I see positives in that, and feel free if you completely disagree in what you see. But for me, it's all about building at this point of the season. As long as you're building in the right direction, I as a fan can get behind that and say, right, I can see what we're trying to do. It's when we look lost and clueless at Rugby Park, I'll sit and say, what are we trying to achieve here? I see something new, and I see little patterns starting to develop, and those patterns need to then be on show versus the likes of Ross County. For me, this is the biggest question I have of these new players, of Michael Beale and this Rangers team. If we're going to be successful, people, we can't just turn up and play some of our best football in European football. Yes, European football will be the sales pitch to a lot of these boys. Big, bright European nights, but they need to realise once they pull on the shirt, what actually really matters is the away to Ross County's up at Dingwall, away to Rugby Park, the Tony Macaroni, all these ugly grunts. It's no sexy and it's no clickbaity. That's the games that wins you trophies at the end of the season, and that's the only thing that really matters. This league title, that's the biggest thing that matters for Rangers Football Club. Yes, the European journeys are great and we love them for as long as they last, but the bread and butter that this club's been built on has been dominating and lifting the SPFL trophy, or the league trophy, whatever you actually want to call it. It's about winning league titles, and we need to get back at it, and the way we do that is beat the likes of Ross County handedly, but treat them with the exact same respect and mindset that we do in European football. There's no point in just turning up and being a one-trick pony in European football and people want to play in there, then half-arsing it because they couldn't care less about Scottish football. That's not going to work for us as Rangers fans, and that's not going to work as Rangers players. It needs to be at the same level, if not over, regarding domestic football. So for me, it's a big question mark. We've seen some good play. I want to see the exact same mindset, application and desire we saw in Europe to track, dude, press this man, chase that man there. I want to see it in the Mora, despite it being up at Dingwall. Speaking of wanting to see it, by the way, that leads me to my next talking point, and a smile is naturally drifting on the Nasher as we get to talk about the one, the only, the Rabbi Matundo. And I'm not just happy is the fact that I'm one of the very few people that was still backing Rabbi Matondo to the sheer mockery of social media. Some of you were very, very harsh, but even those who doubted and turned their backs on the laddie, I'm sure we all thought the exact same. Now we see the laddie starting to play well. It just makes us feel good. Seeing a player that's probably been written off, pulling on the Rangers shirt and battling back from, again, his back truly against the wall to coming out and firing. And again, he's not been perfect, he's not been sensational, but he's been positive. And again, building and building like the team is supposed to be doing. So I would personally love to see him be rewarded with a start tomorrow, and I think we need to start rewarding the boys that actually play well in games, whether it's substitute appearances or, again, if they're starting and playing well, fair enough, but if they're starting and playing poorly, let's bring in the boys that's actually doing it, because I'd love to get that competitiveness again back around the squad. The Hadji situation confuses me, but for Rabbi Matondo, he's came in, he's played really well, and he's offered something we've not got a lot of. Since the likes of Sakala's been sold, Kent's left, we have very little raw pace besides Aloni for Brighton. Rabbi has shown what that pace can actually do, and it's massive to a squad, and it's a massive game changer. And again, I'd love to see him given an opportunity to really flex his muscles tomorrow, get a bit more confidence, to take that into a European fit. But I do understand the sort of common consensus of maybe we should keep treating him the exact same way as giving him wee substitute appearances. Let's not throw him into the deep end just yet. Let's keep building his confidence up, and Michael Beale may stick to that more cautious approach and keep him on the bench and bring him on just to keep building and building and building him up that way. I would get it, but for me, again, I think you should be rewarded if you impact games. The subs bench, and for me, he's definitely done that. So he goes into the starting 11, not only for him, but also gives everyone else a slap in the face, saying it doesn't matter how much we paid for you, or how good you think you are, or how good you play in Europe. If you didn't turn up, there'll be someone willing to take your jersey, and I think that's the way to get a fully fit, firing Rangers team. That's what Gerrard had built previously, two for every position. If one wasn't performing, they were bombed out the squad. So I'd love to see that return, and for me, that starts with Rabbi Matondo starting tomorrow. The rest you sort of know by now, and I'm not going to keep repeating myself on everything. This is vital for us as a football club. We're already chasing, if you will, being 3 points behind after 2 games. There is no time for slip-ups, no time for wee lulls or playing poorly. You've shown you can play at a high level and zip the ball about and play with real pace at PSV. Now let's see us go away to Dingwall and do the exact same thing when we've got absolutely zero excuse on needing to play that slow. There's zero excuse to be that ponderous when you've seen what we can do in European football. It doesn't matter if we're playing 2 banks of 5, you can just play direct, get balls in the mixer, get people in the mixer, and that's the hope, the mindset that I see from a Rangers team. What about you, ladies and gentlemen? All that's left for us today now is to actually predict the unpredictable, and if you pay attention, I'm always 1 goal off. Either way, either I say 2-1 and it finishes 3-0, or 2-0 and it finishes 1 each. There's always 1 goal actually in it, so listen to my prediction and go 1 either way, just up, down, cross, left, right, whatever you want to say. I think we will come away with a good performance, or a good win, I should say. Maybe the performance won't be great, but as long as there's building on that, I'll be a happy man. I'll go Rangers 3, Ross County 0, despite everything suggesting it should be probably 3-1. I'll go 3-0. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below. Until next time, I've been CJ92. Till tomorrow after the game, look after yourselves, and bye-bye.